Going to full screen and floor's yours, Phil.
Good stuff. Yeah. Can you see the slides there? I can see you, Dave. Yeah.
All
Can
good.
everyone see that? Okay.
All good.
Yeah. All good. Yeah. So yeah. Morning, everyone. Yeah. I'm my contact details is at the end of the slideshow. Yeah. So it's not going to be a huge amount of certainly in terms of length here, but yeah, I think it's really important. I think just to give you a flavour for exactly what I do on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, it's been lovely to join the LMP over the last few months. It's been really good. Had lots of really good conversations. In the last couple of months, I've rejoined Black Solicitors in Leeds. So our details there. Um, I'm head of commercial team, so tends to be there can be a bit of difficult, well, not difficulty, but it's sort of misunderstanding about exactly what we do. But although we're a full service law firm, I'm going to really focus on what I do today. So in terms of commercial law, I've got myself, I'm Phil. We've got a couple of solicitors, Beth and Daisy. Beth and Daisy both came through our system. One Daisy started as work experience and then came up, and Beth came through the apprenticeship system as well. So if you ever speak to me about apprenticeships, particularly in the professional services, you'll find a really big fan here. I think it's an excellent route of things, and we've got a couple of really good solicitors that we found, certainly one of them going down the apprenticeship route. Black solicitors themselves, based in Leeds. We have a couple of by appointment only offices in London as well. One at King's Cross, literally a minute over the road from the station. Briefly about me in terms of my what I do when I'm not working, which is seems to be less and less these days. We're very busy at the moment, but yeah, been qualified around 20 years as a solicitor, specialised in commercial law over about the last 10 years or so, but sort of previous to that, a bit of a mixture of corporate and commercial. But I really enjoy the commercial side of things, which I'll tell you about in a moment. In terms of me personally, you live in Leeds as well, so yeah, I've got a nice, fairly straightforward trip into Leeds from Horsforth on the train, which is really nice, as long as it's working, obviously, which it seems to be most of these days. Married and a couple of teenage boys as well. So yeah, we get the odd strop from them now and again, but no, we're very proud of them. One at sixth form and one in doing his GCSEs in a couple of years' time. And then personally, yeah, just so if anyone's ever got any invites for sporting events, yeah, I'll almost certainly say yes to those. I'm very much into my sport, yeah, as my wife will explain as well. Yeah, anything on that side as well. So yeah, now on to the type of work that we do. So commercial law is we kind of sit slightly to the side of corporate law, and the reason for that is a lot of the corporate type clients, the businesses, often need our help in terms of commercial agreements. So the real bread and butter, sort of the that a business would need on a day-to-day basis are terms and conditions. We do a lot of terms and conditions, and that can range from companies who are either just starting out or ones who, which we've done this month, one a very large group who we've kind of had a look at their terms and conditions over the past few years, just as their business changes, things happen, pandemics happen, things like that. So to give you an example, recently, yeah, that group company, they came back to us, and their issue was that they'd in their T's and C's they'd found there was an issue when there was a lot of customers pushing back on returning goods, and they were almost the perishable goods. So yeah, we need to give some thought and around that, and then add some things onto the side like a rebate and a returns agreement as well. Service agreement, again, that's something we do pretty regularly. So that would be where a company is providing services to anything else, and that service could be a lot of things. It could be software, as you see below. It could be providing services. We've done one recently where there's a company in the UK providing services to a company in Dubai, for instance. They were finding in terms of registering an app, for instance, wasn't happening, and they couldn't do it under UK law for various reasons. So yeah, the service we provide, and we put together that contract for them. Manufacturing agreements. I had a good client down in London who was sort of very successful, but they'd almost hit a barrier in terms of where to go with things. They weren't happy with their current manufacturer. and then looking to engage a more modern manufacturer who was able to understand their business. They're kind of in the ESG space, and putting together those. And obviously, there's a lot of thought that needs to go in terms of what a manufacturing agreement is, who's responsible, to what standard it needs to be, when delivery is, who owns it, insurance, all that kind of thing. Software as a service is certainly something that's cropped up a lot over the last few years. As you'd imagine, speaking to one client, a really good client of ours yesterday, who is software as a service provider. Essentially, they are expanding into various areas. They've got various different types of software and products that they sell to customers now all around the world. um, Franchise agreements and related advice. So that could be either for franchisors or people considering entering into being a franchisee as well. Franchise agreements, I had a chat with potential one a couple of weeks ago, which was referred from our firm. Franchises tend to be one of those where I think it sounds a great idea in principle, but certainly a lot of thought needs to go into it. But certainly a good business model if people want to go that way. Sale of goods. So that can be, again, it can be literally selling anything, and we tie those together in terms of what they're selling, where they're selling to, is it overseas, who the customer is, liability, all that kind of thing as well. And then, as I say, at the bottom, actually, and this is why I really enjoy my role, rather than being in an area of law where you're literally filling in forms and ticking boxes. It can literally be any type of contract. I can't particularly tell you what I'm going to do next week. It could be something entirely different or something I haven't seen for 10 years, for instance. So yeah, it's a really interesting area of law. Really enjoy doing it as well. Um, in terms of the types of clients, so target clients are generally SMEs or owner managed businesses as a rule. So that usually kind of Yorkshire based historically, but actually a lot more certainly since the pandemic, and we've gone online, and we're online at the moment. It can be geographically, it doesn't particularly matter where we are. I've got a lot of clients in London, one down in Bristol, for instance. I had one in the USA until fairly recently at my last firm as well. So yeah, it doesn't particularly matter, which is a real boon to us, because actually we can draft things and provide it for them online. In terms of target clients, generally turnover as a very rough guide over sort of £2 million, but certainly we'll consider others as well. So certainly startups who have a bit of funding behind them, for instance, tend to be a very good clients for ours as well. Um, in terms of speaking to you as an audience here, actually, yeah, sort of giving you thought process in terms of the type of clients that you think, oh, actually, yeah, I might speak to Phil about this. So often we see and hear about clients who hit a glass ceiling, but they've managed up to now, but now maybe need some specialist advice. So to give an example, I was dealing with one maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, where they were just before the pandemic, maybe sort of 2017, 2018. I think they'd only just started then, but now they were suddenly becoming a sort of 10 million, £50 million business, almost like a back bedroom business that had grown so much that actually the founder was running here, there, and everywhere, all over the place, trying to deal with customers, staff, all kinds of issues. So that kind of client tends to be really good because they're expanding very quickly, but actually they need a bit of a handle on in terms of where they're going with things. So it could be commercial agreements, it could be looking at how they're structuring things, and then the danger with that kind of client might be that they've either relied on one particular client for too long, for instance, and actually they need to think about how to diversify, and we can help with that kind of thing. Excuse me. Good clients tend to be ones who've had issues. We tend to get things from our litigation team, or dispute resolution as they're called, quite a lot. So a great example, a recent example I've just dealt with this month actually was an excellent business actually, who was a guy who, small business, only about sort of 10 staff, and maybe about sort of £2 or £3 million turnover, but they were he was adamant up until about 3 weeks ago that he was never ever going to sign a contract with his end clients until he had a real issue with things. So yeah, when I go away this afternoon, I'm drafting a couple of things for him, and he's certainly come around to the realization that actually putting in a contract is a good idea. So, yeah, so we've now he's kind of calmed down from the stress of his Christmas. Um, yeah, it's something we can take forward for him. Target clients tend to be good ones who are stepping up. So I've had one down in London, for instance, a couple down in London actually, who are um, extremely good. They're a very niche business focused in the ESG space, looking at some very big clients, some household names they enter into contracts with. I often look at contracts with yeah, some household names in the USA, for instance. And now that they're growing, they actually need some advice of we're not actually doing the drafting. And for them, we almost exclusively just review contracts from very large organisations, give them a report in terms of the risk of it, negotiate it if we need to do so as well. But certainly that client really appreciates us hand holding them through that process as well. And then finally, actually, uh, good clients tend to be ones who are looking to sell up or obtain funding, and we might call it getting ducks in a row. So ones who are, let's say, the best clients actually are ones who maybe plan it sort of 2, 3, 5 years out, maybe, and actually say, I'm looking to in 5 years' time. Here's my plan. Can we sit down and do that? And in fact, I'm working with our corporate team at the moment on exactly that with one particular client. And the advantage of that actually is that they are now speaking to funders and people who may buy their business who and that now they've got a bit of a bidding war going. There's nothing worse, and this does happen quite a lot actually, where a company's looking to sell up, and they find that they haven't got the contracts in place with their main customer, for instance, or they haven't got any T's and C's, and you can be absolutely certain that the lawyers on the other side will really pick up on that during the due diligence process. So yeah, hopefully that gives you a flavour in terms of my target clients, and I think, as I said, I'd make it pretty short. I think that's it. In terms of any questions, more than happy to answer any of those.
Any questions? Just take yourself off mute.
Phil, do you on the work where you're working with clients who might be looking to sell in 2 or 3 years' time,
Yeah.
do you work with coaches and sort of exited founders, people like that? They're probably doing similar work.
Yeah. So yeah, it's certainly speaking to the referrers, and so to give a great example, actually, I was speaking to Mark Williams earlier this week about that
Mm.
from the TAP, who I know is part of this group, but couldn't be here today. But we were speaking exactly about that sort of thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So um, more often than not, we'd speak to referrers, accountants, advisors around that. Yeah, because it's always useful to sit around the table and have a holistic view on that.
It'd probably be good if we have a one-to-one about it, because I
No
know a
question. Yeah.
lot of coach people in the coaching space who work precisely in those areas.
Excellent. Yeah, thanks, Colin. Yeah, that'd be very useful. Yeah, thank you.
Hello, Phil. This is Chucky here. A couple of questions, and I may have missed it. What is the ESG space?
Oh, so ESG, yeah. So it's environmental, social, and someone might help me here. It's more of the kind of
Governance.
the environmental space, yeah.
Yeah.
So social and looking at a company would have those goals where they would
Okay.
look at what they're doing in terms of the environment, how they're helping, and that sort of thing. Yeah. So that particular client was. Um, yeah, very much in terms of they would ally with very large companies to provide them with that kind of service. So it's not a tick box, but if you see what I mean, yeah, they were sort of obliged to do that kind of thing. Yeah, so they were doing a lot in that kind of space. It's going out particularly on sort of local, working with local charities and things like that.
Okay, and secondly, my wife works with a lot of people who are looking at mergers and acquisitions. Is that the sort of contact that it would appreciate?
Yes, yeah, it would. Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, appreciate that.
Phil,
On
Phil
the
was,
ESG sort of CSR side of things, Phil, I
Yes.
don't know if you're aware that we've got a gentleman in one of the other LMP groups, Jonathan Ragg,
Yes,
LTT Group.
I've met John. Yeah, I've had a chat with Jonathan. Yes,
Have you?
thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good, good.
yeah, yeah.
I'm just going to come in. I thought Phil, so Phil, I do coaching and leadership and mediation, but I've
Yeah.
also come from a health background, so I knew what ESG was straight away. So I wondered if it'd be good for me to get in contact with you around that. So when you talked about that client, I wondered if that's something that I could connect with. It might be around that, Phil, and I support them around that sort of values-based and environmental sort of work that they're doing. It just felt that that might be something I might be able to connect with and support you around that.
Yeah, it's certainly
And
worth a chat
also,
anyway, isn't it, Siobhan? Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah,
and also my coaching and leadership, I've really supported a lot of people about who are sort of 10 years down the line about thinking about retirement and what are their plans and what do they put in place. So it sounds like there might be some clients there who are thinking
yeah.
about, as you said, selling up, but 10 years down the line, and but more looking at that personal sort of balance, but also putting into plans 10 years, those sort of financial, but also that personal balance and work-life balance, and what type of authentic leaders do they want to be in that last 10 years.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank
I'd
you.
like
Yeah,
to get in contact around
we love
that.
it. We love a planner. We like a planner. Thank
Oh,
you.
good.
Yeah,
Oh, I
thank
love
you.
a plan. Oh, I've got to have a plan. Yes. Thank you.
Sure.
But Phil, I have a couple of AI SaaS products in development at the moment, almost at prototype stage. We're submitting one to an Innovate UK competition on the 1st of March. We haven't got any legals in place at all for any of it. It's very, very bootstrapped as a venture. Am I the sort of client that you'd be horrified to deal with or excited?
No, no, excited. No, you're probably even better than that one that I talked about here, who was swearing that he'd never enter into a contract with anyone. Yes, so yeah, no, absolutely no. It's always worthwhile chatting around, and sometimes the answer is it's yeah, but it's yeah, no, definitely worth a chat, Richard. Yeah, I'd be more
Let's
than
do
happy
that.
to do that.
Let's follow up on a one-to-one.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, thanks, Richard.
any other questions?